A letter sent by Donald Trump's lawyer to special counsel Jack Smith's team back in October has been revealed in a new court filing, and it shows the lengths to which I believe Donald Trump is trying to blackmail the United States government through his various motions by imperiling our national security. Just going into this letter, which includes document requests made by Donald Trump to special counsel Jack Smith's team. For example, Document Request 8 sub D demands that special counsel Jack Smith, on behalf of the government, produce the Russian Advanced Persistent Threat Actor activity targeting various U.S. state, local, territorial, and tribal SLTT governmental networks, including activities that pose, quote, risk to election information housed on SLTT networks. Then sub E, the Iranian Advanced Persistent Threat Actor activity, quote, targeting the U.S. state websites, quote, to include election websites. Then you go further into these document requests to document request 31, where it says, please produce all documents, including draft and communications regarding revisions and source materials relating to the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security joint report on foreign interference targeting election infrastructure or political organization, campaign, or candidate infrastructure relating to the 2020 U.S. federal elections, including FBI forensic analysis of the CISA cyber incident response activities, risk analysis, and stakeholder information, all documents relating to the broad Russian and Iranian campaign referenced in the report, all documents relating to Iranian claims that sought to undermine the public's confidence in the U.S. election infrastructure, all documents relating to incidents when Russian, Chinese, Iranian government-affiliated actors materially impacted the security of networks associated with or pertaining to the U.S. political organization, candidates, and campaigns during the 2020 federal election. So question number one is, where did I get this request? Where did I get this letter showing that Donald Trump is making these requests of special counsel Jack Smith? Well, it's an October 23rd, 2023 letter, which was attached as an exhibit to a reply brief that Donald Trump just filed in the Washington, D.C. federal case before Judge Tanya Chutkan in a motion that Trump filed. That's a reply in support of his motion to dismiss the case against him for selective and vindictive prosecution, is how he styled this motion. It's an entirely frivolous motion. So that's how we got this document and how we got the exhibit, which is that letter which makes these document requests of special counsel Jack Smith's team back on October 2023. Why isn't the media covering this? Because their eye is not on the ball right now, and they should be, because I believe that is quintessential graymail, a form of blackmail whereby a litigant in a case involving highly sensitive information tries to make the highly sensitive information the centerpiece of the case, of, in this case, the criminal prosecution. So in other words, Donald Trump would say to special counsel Jack Smith, or a criminal defendant would say to the government, I'm going to try to make these documents make them available publicly as part of a public trial, and to basically say, look, my due process rights are going to be violated. I'm being accused of crime, so I have to get these documents. I need to show it to the jury. And yes, it may jeopardize our national security if, for example, the documents are produced regarding our security infrastructure for the 2020 election to stop Russian, Iranian, Chinese hacking into our election software. Like, would you want Donald Trump and Trump's lawyers to have access to that documents? But Donald Trump says basically, and the criminal defendant in these cases would basically say, well, or you could dismiss the case against me. Well, look, special counsel Jack Smith is not turning over those records just because Donald Trump asks for it. Just because a criminal defendant asks for it doesn't mean that that's the type of Brady material exculpatory material that is required to be turned over in a criminal case. So in order to try to get at those records, Donald Trump filed this baseless, vindictive, or selective prosecution motion saying that he's been specifically targeted. And because he's made, he argues, a good faith showing that there just may be some selective targeting of him, that he should be entitled to basically take vindictive, selective prosecution discovery on these issues, and somehow gaining access to the types of material I just told you, he claims would help him build his defense on the basis of selective and vindictive prosecution, and therefore it should be turned over for the limited purpose for him to be able to make this argument.
Geology is a 26-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company recognized in Men's Health, Hypebeast, Birdie, Esquire, Ask Men, and Oprah Daily Grooming Awards. Geology creates simple and effective skincare and hair care routines customized just for you, with ingredients that are proven to work. Their products are built around just a handful of powerful, proven ingredients that have been trusted by dermatologists for a decade. With over 7,000 5-star reviews, it's clear that people truly love the product. My skin looks so much better now that I'm using the Geology skincare that they sent to me. My skin's so much smoother, and it's become a wonderful daily routine to make sure that my skin stays clear. The moisturizing morning cream and everyday face wash has become my absolute favorite. Geology is spelled Geologie, and it helps fight acne, reduce oiliness, prevent wrinkles, combat dark or puffy under eyes, have smoother and hydrated skin, and it targets signs of aging. Right now, for a limited time, they're hooking you up with an absolutely insane offer. Head to geolog.ie/MeidasTouch70 or scan the QR code on the screen and use code MeidasTouch70, and they'll give you an exclusive 70% off their award-winning skincare trial set. On top of that, you can save big on the add-on products of your choice when you add it to your trial. Thank you, Geology, for partnering with us.
Judge Tanya Chutkan, the federal judge in the Washington, D.C. case involving Trump's attempt to overthrow the results of the 2020 election, is going to deny it. This is gamey, this is frivolous, this is ridiculous, but this is ultimately what Donald Trump's plan and one of his plans of his lawyers is. Let's try to get our hands on these documents and let's bring this vindictive and selective prosecution motion as a pretext to try to say, well, in order for us to prove up those claims, we need access to those documents, take those documents, and then try to argue that somehow those documents are relevant, but also try to undermine our national security in the process. This is where Donald Trump says it on page 10 of his reply brief in connection with the vindictive selective prosecution motion. He goes, at a minimum, fact-finding is necessary to resolve these motions. And by fact-finding, Donald Trump means discovery. I should have access to these documents we demanded back on October 23rd, 2023. And here he says, the prosecution suggests that Trump must provide exceptionally clear proof to obtain a hearing on a vindictive selective prosecution motion. Trump argues that is not the case. And then he says, finally, the special counsel's office professes confusion about what type of fact-finding that Donald Trump needs and that would entail, and claims that it requires a rough sketch. The Supreme Court has provided one. In a case, the office cited, the government must assemble from its own files documents which may corroborate or refute the defendant's claim. So too have our discovery requests. Then it goes through the request. There is no mystery about what the prosecution must do if it seeks to establish this case is based on permissible motives, which it is clearly not. And then it cites to Exhibit 2, the letter that I read for you, those portions right there. And if you just take a look at this October 23rd, 2023 letter for discovery, it says, we write on behalf of Donald Trump, who they keep calling president, even though he's not, because it's completely pathetic and they act pathetically, to request that your office, Special Counsel Jack Smith, produce the following discovery pursuant to, and it lists the rule of criminal procedure. It lists the Brady case, which this is not Brady material. It's not exculpatory material. This has nothing to do with the Washington, D.C. case, but nonetheless, Trump claims, I have a Fifth Amendment right. I have a Sixth Amendment right. Simply pointing out the voluminous discovery produced as satisfaction of your constitutional discovery obligations is not sufficient. In furtherance of your offer to, quote, exceed your discovery obligations and provide substantial assistance to aid the defendant's review, we request that you turn over the following documents. And it lists a bunch of documents, but if you go through them, it's asking for those documents about the way the United States government's able to block Russian interference, Iranian interference, Chinese interference into our elections. So that's Donald Trump's plan. And then he files the vindictive selective prosecution motion to then say, I need discovery to prove up the vindictive prosecution. Show me those records. Again, does this sound to you like something an innocent party would do? Does this sound to you like someone who's not guilty would do? Wouldn't you want to argue the facts and actually get to the foundation of like what this case is about? But no, it's always about creating these other issues, whether it's graymail, blackmail, attack the judge, attack the prosecutors, attack the witnesses. Never let's argue the facts, because the facts and the law will clearly demonstrate, in my opinion, Donald Trump is guilty. But folks, this is going nowhere, but I want to show you specifically what Donald Trump's trying to get his hands on and make public, and how dangerous that would be for our national security. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support, and have a great day.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.